brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware and building center location. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Welcome to Rogers Center here in Toronto. Beautiful evening in Toronto. The roof is wide open, and it is a perfect night for baseball. Game 3 of a 4-game set. The two clubs have swapped 3-2 ball games, and Robin Ventura's ball club trying to hang on to their lead in the American League Central Division. Take a look at the White Sox lineup. Top order, Alejandro Diaz, Kevin Youkilis, Adam Dunn. Middle of the order is the former Blue Jay Alex Reyes playing in right. A.J. Pierzynski on a 15-game hit streak. Alexei Ramirez is the shortstop. Viciedo, Wise, and Hudson round out the lineup. Kevin Youkilis has worn out Ricky Romero throughout his career. The last time Youkilis faced Romero back in July at a 2-run home run, one of 4 home runs he has against Ricky Romero in his career. But that's a tough lineup for Ricky Romero, and there's some hot spots he's going to have to avoid.
And Ricky Romero, 27-year-old left-hander in his 4th year now, 8-9 on the season. His strikeouts are down this year, while his walks, whip, and ERA are way up. Hasn't won since July 22nd at Miami, but has shown improvement in recent starts, controls the running game well. And that defense behind Ricky this evening for the Blue Jays. New look in left field as we go left to right in the outfield. Edwin Encarnacion. You'll have the speed of Anthony Gose in center and Rajai Davis in right. In the infield, left to right, Omar Vizquel at third base. Escobar, Johnson, and Cooper round out the infield. And Jeff Mathis once behind the plate as Ricky will take to the hill. And in left field, it's Edwin Encarnacion, as we mentioned. 3rd time in his career he's been in left, and 2nd time as a starter. Both of those starts coming this year for the Blue Jays, and that newfound speed this year certainly will help Edwin.
So we are set. Ricky Romero, 3-1 in 5 starts against the White Sox, with a very good 3.51 ERA over those 5 games. First pitch of the ball game to Alejandro Diaz. Hits not exactly what Romero had on his mind to start this game. He'll put the first batter on base.
You focus for 5 days about what it's going to look like when you get back out there the next time. You want to establish fastball. That's been the big story on Ricky for such a long time, and then it gets away and you put a man on base to begin things.
And now you got a man on with a red-hot hitter against you back on the 7th of July on a Saturday afternoon. Ricky Romero gives up a 2-run home run. The only runs of the ball game in that White Sox win, and Youkilis, that was his 4th career home run against the Blue Jays left-hander. Ball in the dirt. Diaz was thinking about going to second.
So we've seen 2 fastballs, one up and in on the left-hand hitter, the next one in the dirt, down and in on the right-hand hitter.
Diaz at first base scored the winning run in last night's game in the 5th. He scored on an error by Henderson Alvarez, the pitcher. Inside, Romero missing with all 3 fastballs to start this ball game. John Farrell has talked about Romero the last few starts. In fact, his last 3 starts, he's been pretty good. Of course, he hasn't won a ball game. As Alan mentioned, he hasn't won a game since June 22nd, a span of 9 starts. There goes Diaz. Cooper's throw to second in time. Alejandro Diaz guessed with Ricky Romero, and he guessed wrong. Romero is able to erase that leadoff batter reaching by picking him off at first. Good throw by Cooper.
Yeah, and that's the perfect call. They guess. Ricky doesn't have an exceptional move, and yet he'll get guys like this as they go on first move. David Cooper clears the line there, provides a throwing lane, although the throw not all that good.
There's a strike from Romero. It's 2-1 to Kevin Youkilis.
And having seen that throw from David Cooper, when he has the double play possibility, he tends to be a little tentative on that throw to second base.
Youkilis pulls it foul. Cooper's at first. Encarnacion in left. Colby Rasmus back in the lineup as the DH, and that's the only way he can get all 3 bats in at one time. John Farrell went to Encarnacion yesterday and asked him about his comfort level playing at left. He said he was fine. On the ground, Vizquel dives, and it's beyond his reach, past Escobar into left. Euclid has another hit against Ricky Romero.
And now it's time for the scouting report, brought to you by Home Hardware. Homeowners helping homeowners. For Ricky Romero, he's been on a mission to establish the fastball of late, having success in doing so over his last couple of starts. As an all-star a year ago, the curve, change, and slider were very impressive weapons, but the command has been the big key this year.
One out, Euclid at first. Adam Dunn against Romero. Dunn looks up and sees three infielders on the first base side of second. He's used to that. That's the way everybody plays him. He's such a dramatic pull hitter. The average is .208, but his 33 home runs, that's the best in the majors. One ahead of Josh Hamilton. We'll see Hamilton this weekend.
That's not a bad pitch, that high fastball on Adam Dunn, but I'm not sure that that was actually the game plan for Ricky with that pitch.
Been a bit of a struggle for Dunn of late, and he won 69 over his last 14 games. But that's what you get with Adam Dunn. Peaks and valleys. Romero's ahead 1-2.
His peaks make the valleys probably pretty acceptable for Robin Ventura.
Well, absolutely, and he has turned his White Sox time around this year. Last year it was miserable. Just 11 home runs all season long. This year, as we mentioned, 33. Strike three count. Ricky Romero makes quick work of Adam Dunn. Catches that outside corner.
This is spotting it well. Ricky finds the outside edge. Right, maybe on that black area. You get a peek. Yeah, that gets the plate, and you could see the angle coming across from that left arm.
A lot of movement on that fastball, and Dunn couldn't pull the trigger. Two down. Former Blue Jay Alex Rios. Rios hit third in the game last night. Ended up 0 for 4 with a couple of strikeouts. Rios is currently tied with Robinson Cano for 9th in the American League in batting average. .311. Hits this ball into center, goes on the run, measures it, makes the catch. Anthony Gose has great speed. He had a good angle to that ball and runs it down. Rios is retired. Romero's out of the first. Two for 11 with runners in scoring position. Came out on the wrong end of a 3-2 ball game. Rajai Davis, Colby Rasmus, Edwin Encarnacion, top of the order. Colby Rasmus this season, a .385 average, 10 for 26 against the White Sox. Hit a couple of doubles and 2 home runs. He had a 5 for 5 game against the White Sox back in June. Edwin Encarnacion, David Cooper, Yunel Escobar, Kelly Johnson, Omar Vizquel starting at third base for the 5th time this season. Jeff Mathis behind the plate, and Anthony Gose is patrolling in center.
And they'll take their hacks against Gavin Floyd, 29-year-old right-hander in his 9th season now. Like Romero, 8-9 on the season, ERA at 4.43. He allows about a hit per inning and has issues with the walks. Yields the long ball more than he would like. He'll strike out about 7 per 9. The lefties have hit him well at .299, and he's just 1-6 on the road. And that defense behind Gavin Floyd. From left to right in the outfield. We started with Dwayne Wise and lefty. Aza and Rios round out the outfield. In the infield, Kevin Youkilis, Ramirez, Hudson, and Dunn with Pierzynski behind the plate. And Kevin Youkilis is the guy we featured tonight. Last night made the key play of the game, a fine play on a line shot hit by Edwin with the bases loaded. Had a chance to be a big game-winning type swing for Edwin.
First pitch of the game for Gavin Floyd is outside to Rajay Davis. Rajay went 3 for 4 in the ball game last night, and he also walked. Pops this one back. Rajay did a good job of using the entire field. He singled to center, doubled to left, and singled to right. For Rajay, that's his 4th 3-hit game of the season.
He's been swinging it so well, and he's coming up with extra base hits. That's how he got the night started, right back up the middle. Then he yanks one down the left field line if the defense moves at all, and they did. They leave the hole on the right side, and he takes advantage there.
Floyd gets Rajay to chase that cutter. You're going to see an awful lot of cut fastballs from Gavin Floyd. Cut fastballs, sliders. He throws a lot of pitches down and away to the right-handed hitters. There's a strikeout, went right back to that same pitch, and Davis chased.
Pretty tight. A little cutter, slider, whatever you want to call it, and he will vary that pitch, but Rajay just unable to lay off.
Gavin Floyd is a former #1 pick of the Philadelphia Phillies. He's a guy that was drafted 4th overall by Philadelphia in 2001. Colby Rasmus back in the lineup, goes after the first pitch. Colby came off the bench in last night's game and got a base hit to left field, batting for the shortstop, Danny Echeverria, in the 9th. But that's all they would get. Well, Patterson Reed in the 9th. We mentioned Rasmus' good season against Chicago, hitting .385 for the year. And it all started on June 5th when he moved into that 2nd spot in the batting order. It was a good changeup that Rasmus was out in front of.
And of course, that night you referred to in Chicago against these White Sox, as Colby took that slot, and guy we haven't seen for a while. Third baseman kind of missing in action for the Blue Jays.
There's a curveball that catches the outside corner. Gavin Floyd with 2 strikeouts to start the game.
And Gavin Floyd on that scouting report, he has the full assortment of pitches, and he'll mix them all around. 2- and 4-seam fastballs, a curveball that according to some may be his best pitch. Went on a slider. We've seen that, the cutter, the change to round it out, and he's mixing those in early.
Edwin Encarnacion, the left fielder, takes the first pitch strike. Edwin started left field in Atlanta in the Sunday, June 10th game, the final game in that 3-game series. He went 3 for 5 that day, so hopefully he'll have the same kind of day that he had against the Braves when he started in left. Ball and a strike. Downstairs.
Anyway, back to that third baseman for the Blue Jays, Brett Lawrie, along with Jose Bautista and others, missing in action for so long, and it's just been deadly for this offense.
There's that breaking ball, and Encarnacion, you don't see that very often from Encarnacion this year. Rarely do we see a wild swing like that.
He lands so quietly, and he takes tough pitches in and out of the strike zone, and then when he does let it go, typically just a great swing.
Here's the 2-2 from Floyd. On the ground. Ramirez deep hit short. In time, Gavin Floyd retires the Blue Jays in order. We've played an inning here at Rogers Center. It's scoreless. Presented by Schneider's Grill'em. Friday, August 17th, the Blue Jays will take on the Texas Rangers. The game begins at 7:07 p.m. Come on down early and enjoy the pregame festivities happening outside Gate 10. It all starts at 4:30. There's a licensed area, live music, fun, interactive games. One lucky fan will win the Honda motorcycle. Call the Blue Jays for tickets at 416-341-1234. Or you can log on to BlueJays.com. Romero misses to A.J. Pierzynski inside. Pierzynski homered off Romero back in Chicago on June 5th. Ricky actually won that ball game. But Pierzynski hit one of 2 home runs that Romero gave up. Good season against the Jays, batting .292 for the 8 games. Romero falls behind. 3-0. This has been an ongoing battle for Ricky Romero all season long. He just hasn't had the ability to pitch ahead.
There have been times when he's rolling along, just sailing with the ball game. Looks like everything's in control, and then he'll come out for 1 inning and just completely lose it.
A.J. Pierzynski has just extended his hit streak to 16 games. A leadoff single here in the second.
Hitting becomes a lot easier when you hit from that hitter's count. 3-1 in this case. Guess fastball, get one through the heart of the plate, and though it's not crushed, line to center field.
I don't care who you are, it's very difficult when you throw 5 pitches to a batter, start out 3-0, and you give him an awful lot of information. This was the case with A.J. Pierzynski. Alexei Ramirez gets a first pitch strike. Ramirez has had his problems facing Ricky Romero. He's gone 0 for 14 against the Blue Jays lefty. Batting .260 on the season. Power down this year, hitting just 5 home runs.
You can see the margin with which Ricky's missing the strike zone, and he's throwing pretty much nothing but fastballs right now.
Ball just sailing all over the place, and you're right, he'll bounce a fastball in front of home plate, something you don't see very often from most major league starters. There's a ball just beyond the reach of Escobar into center field. Ramirez gets his first base hit against Ricky Romero. He got jammed and flared it into center. So the first 2 reach here against Romero in the second.
And the pitch appeared to be right there below the belt, right in the strike zone. And you've already seen some pitches out of the strike zone. You're not seeing anything different, just another fastball. And after, as Buck says, you get a couple peeks at it. That next one, while in a nice hitter's count, pretty easy to handle.
Now Jeff Mathis giving the defensive play should the runners break. Probably a long shot with Pierzynski running at second. Nobody out. Diane Viciedo, a DH again here tonight. That's a first pitch strike. Viciedo comes out of Cuba, as does Alexei Ramirez, Yunel Escobar, and of course the Danny Hechavarria. 4 players born in Cuba in this game tonight.
Sign of things to come.
There's a base hit to right. Pierzynski is being stopped at third. Davis gets the ball back into the infield quickly, and 3 straight hits against Romero here to start the second.
I don't know. I just wonder. We're seeing nothing but fastballs. We've had a hit batter. We've had 4 hits already. We're yet to get the first out of the second inning. And that was pretty good velocity for Ricky at 94.
So now he is in a tough spot early on. White Sox with 4 hits already. Dwayne Wise, he started in left field in last night's game. Went 1 for 4 with an RBI. Nobody out. Goes after the first pitch and drives it to left field. Encarnacion, long run, makes the catch, and then drops the ball. And he may have hurt himself. Now he gets up. It's a fair ball. The ball is still alive. The umpire down the third base line indicating that it was a fair ball. Mike Winters, Edwin had the ball, but when he slammed to the turf, it popped out of his glove. He had to take it out of his glove for it to be a catch. But he hit the turf hard down the left field line.
That was a terrific effort by Edwin. And at that last moment, didn't look like he'd get to the baseball, but what a play until, like you say, the glove and ball hit the ground, and including Edwin's shoulder. And Edwin with some good hustle just to get up and allow only one run to score on the play.
Boy, he did a great job of getting to that ball, and you can see he grabbed the top of his left shoulder as he hit it hard on that warning track down the left field line. 2 runs come in. It's a 2-0 lead for Chicago. Wise is credited with a base hit. 5 hits now off Romero. First time through the order. Orlando Hudson drives it to right. Davis back, makes the catch. Tagging at second is Viciedo. He moves over to third. That's just the first out of the inning.
Certainly nothing to be fooled about if you're a White Sox hitter right now. You're going to get the heat. It's coming at you. And the White Sox are teeing off.
So Hudson flies out for the first out. Back to the top of the order. Alejandro De Aza was hit by a pitch in the first, and then he was caught stealing. 2-0 Chicago. The first pitch strike from Romero. Five singles off Ricky Romero, first time through the batting order. Dwayne Wise for the season between his time in New York and here with the White Sox, 7 for 7 in steals. He's yet to be caught. There's a breaking ball, and Piazza takes it off the plate. Ball and a strike.
Yeah, we have now officially seen the curveball.
Long look in at Mathis to get the sign. Here's the 1-1. Another breaking ball, and he went around. It's 1-2.
Yeah, not a good breaking ball, but at least a different look for a hitter to have to see. And it's just hung up there. Sometimes that hanging curveball, hanging slider can actually turn out effective.
One ball, 2 strikes. There's a good breaking ball, and Diaz strikes out. 2 down. Second strikeout for Romero.
Yeah, this is the first good breaking ball he's thrown. We haven't seen the changeup yet tonight. A pitch that, and you can see just beautiful dipping it under the knees. That changeup pitch that really picked up the majority of the Romero strikeouts in previous seasons.
Tough guy to play now with 2 outs. Kevin Youkilis is already singled tonight. Romero gets ahead with the fastball. Youkilis now is 10 for 26 against Romero for his career. He's always been a tough out for Ricky. Well, these are big runs on the bases for the Blue Jays to save.
There's the changeup. Nice job by Mathis to get down and just get the body in front. It's a big key on off-speed pitches in the dirt. Don't try to catch it, even though Jeff did catch that pitch. You want to keep the glove down and let the chest protector do the dirty work.
Euclid goes after that pitch down and in. Good late movement with that fastball. 1-2, two outs.
It's rare when you see Ricky with this 94, 95 kind of a fastball, but impressive stuff.
The appeal to first is denied. David Rackley said no swing. Uke was checked in plenty of time. It's a 2-2 count. Chicago's taking a 2-0 lead here in the top of the second. Dwayne Wise with a couple of RBIs. A pop fly that popped out of the glove of Edwin Encarnacion down the left field line. Edwin with a terrific effort. Long run. Dove. Actually caught the ball. But it popped out of his glove when he hit the warning track. Full count. So the base runner at first, Dwayne Wise, will be off on the pitch. Cooper reminding Romero he's going to play behind the runner. Viciedo at third. He singled. There goes Wise. The pitch is hit into right field. Rajay Davis backing up a few steps. Makes the catch and the inning is over. But the White Sox have taken a 2-0 lead. They scored 2 runs on 4 hits. Edwin Encarnacion did everything possible, but the ball popped out of his glove, and that leads to 2 runs. Home run contest is back. Every time Toronto hits a home run, you can win a big audio home theater system and big TVs like an 80-inch Sharp Aquos Quadron. To enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Blue Jays trail 2-0. Gavin Floyd had a good first inning, a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 inning. Blue Jays will want to get on Gavin Floyd early on. His problems have been early in the ball game. In the first 3 innings this season, he's got a 5.29 ERA. But once you get past the 3rd inning, he settles down and generally pitches pretty well. Boy, David Cooper has been a very good addition to this lineup. He's made the most of his opportunities since coming up to the big leagues. Hits this one off the glove. Orlando Hudson's not going to have a play. Cooper continues to hit. Got a big double in last night's game. In the 8th inning. Starts it off with a leadoff single.
David Cooper is not a guy that runs well, and so when you see an infield single for him, it's probably something you can start kind of counting up on your fingers over the course of a season, and you won't run out.
Gavin Floyd just knocked it down. I'm not sure Hudson would have been able to get to it. Even had Gavin Floyd not touched it, it probably would have been a line single into center. Yunel Escobar takes a pitch outside. We mentioned the 4 Cuban players in the ballpark tonight. There are only 18 current players from Cuba playing in the major leagues as we speak. And there are 4 of them in this game. 2 shortstops, of course. Viciedo and Echeverria. There's a ball driven to center. Diaza on his horse. Breaks down now, makes the catch in front of the warning track in center. Escobar hit it hard. Diaz's got good range in the outfield. He read that perfectly off the bat.
Guy a lot of fans don't know a lot about yet, Diaz, but he does. He covers the gaps well, swings the bat in a nice fashion for these White Sox.
There's Echeverria not starting in the game tonight. He's 23 years old, and he's gotten his first taste of big league baseball. 1 out, Kelly Johnson. Viciedo, he also signed as a free agent with the White Sox. He's been a great addition to their lineup. He's a regular left fielder who's been the DH the last 2 games in this ballpark. Over the history of the game, there have been 175 Cuban-born players playing the big leagues, and the White Sox have a great link to Cuba with Minnie Minoso. He's a real icon of baseball. And Minnie Minoso spent many years with the Chicago White Sox. Of course, some of the other great Cuban-born players, Tony Perez, Tony Olivo, Cookie Rojas, who was my teammate and my bench coach while I managed, and Mike Cuellar, a great pitcher for Houston and the Orioles. Kelly Johnson pops it to left. Dwayne Wise has a bead on it. He makes the catch. 2 outs.
It's funny you mentioned Cookie Rojas being your bench coach. I did some minor league managing, and I had Cookie's son Vic, who's now a broadcaster and a very good one. He was my bench coach, my coach in independent ball, and nice little tie right there.
Yeah, and we're going to see Cookie's other son, Michael, who's the bullpen coach for the Tigers.
I think you had me trumped there, Buck, but it's okay.
Now, the Rojas is certainly a rich link to Cuban baseball. 2 outs. Omar Vizquel jumps on the first pitch and rips it into right. Cooper will stop at second. As Alan mentioned earlier, David Cooper is not blessed with blazing speed, so he just moves up 90 feet.
But David's one of those guys at second base that with 2 outs even, a base hit is not a sure thing to score.
Well, Omar Vizquel can still swing that bat, especially from the left side. He didn't waste any time. Went after that first pitch from Gavin Floyd.
I thought he was just a pinch runner deluxe. We saw him the other night at the age of 45 as a pinch runner.
So first and second, 2 outs, Jeff Mathis. Mathis signed yesterday to a contract extension, 2 years plus an option. It's a good sign for the Blue Jays. Go ahead and tie up your backup catcher for the next several seasons.
Especially when you have one like Jeff Mathis that can really shut down that running game. Outstanding throwing catcher and grinder behind the plate.
Outside, a ball on the strike. You know, when you look around, and we see this all the time in spring training, clubs will get to spring training and look at their regular catcher and then look at their backup catcher and go, we might need an upgrade here. And then you start to shop around, and they're hard to find.
Hard to find that guy that can really play that catch-throw side of the game. Especially if you're looking for a guy that can also swing the bat. Now, Jeff has not historically been a great hitter, but in a Blue Jays uniform, he's come up with a number of big swings.
He's got 6 home runs this season. But you can see the increased playing time has really caused him some problems at the plate. 2-1, 2 outs. Because after that breaking ball, it's 2-2.
Yeah, if you're a backup catcher and you're doing a really nice job, sometimes it's not a good thing to get that chance to play a whole lot. You get exposed and you maybe wear down a little bit as well.
Well, too, when you start to play every day, pitchers go over you in the meetings.
Yeah. Yes.
When you're not playing all the time, they don't even worry about you. I can speak from experience. 2-2, 2 outs. Mathis strikes out. Another good breaking ball from Gavin Floyd. He's got 3 strikeouts already. Blue Jays come up with a couple of singles in the second inning, but they leave a pair. Gavin Floyd strikes out Jeff Mathis to end the inning. Hello to a great Blue Jay fan, Peggy Quinn from Scarborough. You know, Peggy, you're a little under the weather, but your favorite fan, Edwin Encarnacion, gave us a great show of effort when he missed that ball down there, but we hope feeling better real soon. Edwin is okay back in left field. Adam Dunn, he struck out his first time up against Ricky Romero. Goes after the first pitch and pops it a mile high over near the seats. Long run for Escobar, and it's well out of play.
You don't think of that challenge when you have the shift on defensively in the infield. Challenge of the pop fly on the opposite side. That shortstop or third baseman or whoever is left on that side just has a long sprint.
Now he's got a long sprint back to his position. Need time to catch his breath.
Of course, Yunel's never seen a pop fly that he hasn't called yet.
Outside, ball and a strike to Adam Dunn. Dunn, as we mentioned, the major league leader in home runs, batting just .208. Spoke with Dunn earlier in the game, earlier this afternoon, and he was talking about going to the postseason. He said, I really want to get to the postseason. Obviously, he has a great opportunity with Chicago. He's never made it to a postseason game yet. Had a long career, and that's one thing that's been missing. I think Adam Dunn might be one of the most misunderstood players in the big leagues.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that's off base at all. Big guy, hits a lot of home runs, strikes out a lot. I think there's the perception that he doesn't care about all the strikeouts. I talked to him the other day, and he said it really chaps him royal to strike out.
Little bobbled ball by Romero. He still has time to go to first and throw out Adam Dunn. So Dunn is retired. Romero has sat him down twice so far tonight. One big bat the White Sox really miss in this lineup is that of Paul Konerko.
Yes.
Konerko is on the 7-day disabled list. He's currently 6th in the American League with a .316 batting average. But he would be right here in the middle of this stretch in the batting lineup.
When the Blue Jays last saw the White Sox, Konerko was at or right close to the top hitter in the American League. He was swinging a very hot bat.
Oh, 0-2 to Alex Rios. A check swing, and Mathis went after it. Unfortunately for the Blue Jays, David Rackley down at first said no swing.
Well, you know what Jeff Mathis is thinking. If you get that appeal and the thumb goes up, you better go find that baseball quickly.
And he knew exactly what he needed to do. That breaking ball bounced off his shin guard, went toward the Blue Jays dugout. Here's the 1-2 to Alex Rios. Driven to right, Rajai Davis on the run. It's slicing away from him. Hits up against the wall. Rios is into second base with a stand-up double. Alex Rios, his 29th double of the season, and he continues to have a spectacular offensive season.
Talk about misunderstood players. I think Alex Rios is one of those, and one thing he's done awfully well is use the whole field, takes this pitch up and away and drives it down the right field side. But he's a good guy, Alex Rios, and he cares about this game, I think, a lot more than the perception on him.
That's a good call. And people blame Rios for his big contract and the fact that they felt like he didn't live up to it. AJ Pierzynski gets jammed and fights it off.
I'd like to get some folks blaming me in that regard.
Back in his first at bat, AJ Pierzynski singled to center field to extend his current hit streak to 16 games. That's the longest active hit streak in the majors. Mike Morris of the Nationals with 11. David Ortiz, of course, is on the DL. He's got that 11-game hit streak still alive. Rios looked like he was thinking about running. If he stepped off because he wanted another set of signs. And Jeff Mathis now reminding Romero to keep an eye on Rios.
Rios has a great chance of being a 2020 guy this year. Home runs and stolen bases.
Pierzynski waits back on that breaking ball and lifts a lazy fly ball into center. Rios is going to challenge the arm of Gose, and I think he might have surprised Anthony Gose. Rios tagged. He was set up ready to advance, and it looked like Gose didn't really anticipate that he was going to run.
Shame. Yeah, Anthony Gose has a terrific throwing arm, but don't ever assume people aren't going to run because you have a big, strong throwing arm. And you got to be ready for that play always.
They're going to challenge you until you make them stop. So with 2 outs, Rios at third. Shortstop Alexei Ramirez waves at that first pitch breaking ball.
Well, what a difference when you can get hitters guessing fastball and then start being able to throw the off-speed pitches for strikes as well.
Another breaking ball, another wild swing. 0-2. Romero's ahead. You mentioned Ricky Romero hasn't won since June 22nd, and he didn't pitch well in the early part of that losing streak. But the last 3 games, he's thrown much better.
Much better. A couple of those games on the West Coast in ballparks that favor pitchers, such as in Seattle, that is, favored pitchers to the tune of no-hitters and perfect games.
1-2, 2 outs. Ricky Romero trying to strand Rios at third.
I thought that was a nice stretch where Ricky could have the chance to turn his game around, pitching in Seattle and then Oakland, and see if he could carry that forward.
Ramirez strikes out. Mathis puts the tag on the White Sox shortstop. Indeed, Ricky Romero leaves Alex Rios at third. Blue Jays trail 2-0. It'll be the number 9 hitter with good speed. Anthony Gose leading things off, then Rajai Davis and Colby Erasmus. Enjoying those big comfy green chairs in the Comfort Zone are guests of TD. The TD Comfort Zone, courtesy of TD. Great night to be sitting in the front row. The roof is wide open. Very comfortable evening. This is a third game of a 4-game set against the Chicago White Sox. Kind of a rainy week here in southern Ontario, and that roof has been closed most of the time. Anthony Gose takes a pitch inside for a ball. Gose batting just 188. This ball on the ground. Easy hop for Orlando Hudson. One down. Hey fans, every time Toronto hits a home run in the 4th inning, a lucky winner will take home a Sharp home theater system, including audio soundbar, Blu-ray player, and an Aquos LCD TV. To enter, visit hitahomerunwithsharp.ca. Sharp, big is too small a word for it. One down. Back to the top of the order. Jose Bautista had another good session of swinging the bat. And you can see it in his face. All of a sudden, he's enthusiastic again. He doesn't feel pain in that wrist. I spoke to Dwayne Murphy about that, and he said, boy, the session really went well. He started to take some soft toss. Murphy said he has no pain whatsoever in the wrist, which is different than the last time when he tried to swing the bat. Still no time frame on when Jose might take live BP or eventually get into a ball game somewhere.
With no pain, are the Blue Jays simply waiting on an MRI that shows no swelling at all?
No, I don't think they're going to take another MRI unless he has a recurrence of the pain. They're pretty encouraged that the inflammation is down now because the pain doesn't occur when he swings the bat.
So what is holding Jose back at this point from, is it just kind of a, we're going to take it this step followed by this step kind of a scenario?
Exactly. Yeah, he hasn't hit live batting practice yet. He's still a little apprehensive of taking that full Jose Bautista swing. But he has built up to the point where now he's moving forward without any concerns. 2 outs for Colby Rasmus. But it's still going to be a process. Bautista has to get to a point where he can hit live batting practice and then some sort of simulated game and possibly a rehab assignment.
I'll say this, that typical Jose Bautista swing would break most major leaguers down.
Yeah, and that's why he's a little apprehensive. He's been out a month now. He injured that wrist July 16th at Yankee Stadium. Gavin Floyd thought he had thrown a pretty good pitch there. It's 2 balls and a strike. We mentioned Floyd. Traditionally this season, at least, it's been in the first 3 innings.
His stuff will leave some folks with the White Sox telling you that he could throw some no-hitters. But they'll also tell you that he has those moments during a ball game where it just seems to unravel.
Well, isn't that the truth? Consistency.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Just be consistent from start to start. There's another breaking ball pulled foul. We mentioned Gavin Floyd was a first-round pick of the Philadelphia Phillies. He came to Chicago along with Gio Gonzalez from the Phillies for Freddie Garcia. And later on, Gonzalez would bounce back to Philly, eventually end up in Oakland, and now he's with the Nationals. Breaking ball, foul tipped into the glove of A.J. Pierzynski. Gavin Floyd off to a good start. Colby Rasmus has struck out twice tonight. This time, another breaking ball gets him. His bobblehead will be given away on Sunday, August 19th, when the Blue Jays take on the Texas Rangers. The game starts at 1:07 p.m. The first 20,000 fans will receive a Ricky Romero bobblehead. You can buy your tickets by calling Blue Jays at 416-341-1234. Log on to BlueJays.com or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. Romero, that bobblehead is the third in that collectible set this summer. Viciedo goes after the pitch and fouls it back out of play. Diane Viciedo has a .329 average against lefty pitching. That's 7th in the American League. Boy, he swings it. He reminds me a little bit of Cespedes out in Oakland.
Yeah, I can see that, and he does get some good swings. He's got some fastballs right there to hit and just fouling them back.
Hitting just .252 overall coming into this game. I don't think there's a whole lot of take going on in Viciedo's approach.
You know, the White Sox have been free swinging in this series, as have the Blue Jays. The pitching has dominated. The games have scooted along.
One and two. Breaking ball. That time he laid off the breaking ball in the dirt.
It's funny how Ricky Romero, I think the first 3 years in the big leagues would have, people said to you or were asked, what does he use to get big outs with? I think everybody would have said the changeup. You don't even see that pitch right now from Ricky.
Been struggling so much with his command, he hasn't really been able to get to it too frequently. 3-2 count. Nobody out. Viciedo leading off the fourth for Chicago. There's a changeup, and Viciedo hit it off the end of the bat. Fastball down and in. Viciedo takes the walk. That starts the fourth inning for Chicago. It's the first batter that Romero has walked. He hit the leadoff batter, start the ball game, Alejandro De Aza. There's that CN Tower, and people making their way toward the end of the day. They're only a few steps away, and now they've pushed back, and they're all going, why are we doing this?
You made it look so easy.
No, it wasn't easy, believe me. A.J. Pierzynski and Alex Rios were contemplating him taking that trip around the CN Tower, but I doubt neither one of them made it.
You think they got over that notion?
Yeah, when they first came in here on Monday, they were really talking a lot of smack about going up to CN Tower.
I won't even talk smack in that direction.
Dwayne Wise hits it high and deep to right, and Rajay Davis will just watch it sail into the seats. Dwayne Wise's fourth home run of the season. A two-run home run here in the fourth.
Well, it has been a fastball fest for these Chicago White Sox. Ricky's not overly sharp, but it just feels like they can say, I'm going to guess fastball and get it, and when it's up like that, pretty easy to handle. Dwayne Wise trying to assure himself a chance to stay with a ball club that has a chance to get into postseason play.
Now, Wise has been with the White Sox before. Actually started his big league career with the Blue Jays in 2000. But when Ichiro Suzuki signed with the Yankees, Wise was designated for assignment, and the White Sox picked him up quickly. Orlando Hudson in the hole, 0-2. That's what you do when you hit a home run. You go sit next to the manager to make sure he remembers who you are.
Skip, did you notice who hit that ball?
Go down and sit next to Robin Ventura and say, you know, I really feel good right now.
You know, you need a good bench to win, and these White Sox are going to have to beat some pretty good teams to find their way into the postseason.
Bouncing ball up the middle. Escobar can't make the play, and Hudson has a hit. Another base hit given up by Ricky Romero. He trails 4-0. First three batters have reached here in the fourth inning. That was the same pattern he fell into in the second. 4 straight hits led to 2 White Sox runs, and Ricky Romero has seen more of Dwayne Wise than he would like. Wise has driven in all 4 runs.
Feel for Ricky. I know he's battling and probably putting in way more time thinking about it than you'd like to. But I genuinely, and I know I'm among the minority in this regard, I feel like he needs to get back to pitching, utilizing all the pitches, and leave hitters without that assurance that they're going to get a fastball.
1 ball, no strikes. And the ball driven to center. Ghosts. Gets back, makes the catch. That's the first down of the inning. How would you like to see Ricky Romero approach hitters?
I guess what I'd like to see, and for me what it comes down to is I've been around guys that have struggled, as you have, and anybody who's ever played this game, and at some point somebody will say, well, establish the fastball, and they go out and they start to get racky-tacked all over the place. And before it's all said and done, they find it once again by going back to pitching and utilizing their assortment. I don't feel like Ricky's doing that a whole lot. Now, there was a good sinking action on a fastball, and you get kind of the changeup effect. But I really do feel like, though Ricky has had his issues with command, and to me that's the #1 issue for Ricky, the assortment is lacking right now. I think hitters can guess and get fastball.
Euclid is behind 0-1. Pops this ball into right field. Rajay Davis moves around, gets underneath it. Euclid is retired.
So I guess, you know, to answer your question directly, I would like to see any given pitch, whether it be first, second, third, fourth, whatever through the sequence, to be a pitch that's not predictable from Ricky, to utilize his assortment. But in order to be able to do so, granted, you have to get back to being able to command all of those pitches, and Ricky hasn't been there.
Yeah, he's been off on his command with everything. There he throws the first pitch strike. I think for me the best pitch in baseball is a well-placed fastball, one that you can spot anytime you want to, and that kind of sets up the rest of your pitches, where you can get a hitter thinking, I've got to get the bat head out, and then he becomes vulnerable to the off-speed pitch, changeup. Dunn falls behind 0-2.
Where I struggle, and you preface that by saying well placed, and a well placed fastball, like a well placed any other pitch, is exceptional. You put it on the corners, you put it around the knees, or in tough locations, you got something special. But what we've seen with first pitches around the major leagues this year is that, and it's like any other year, batting averages are sky high, and my personal belief is that's because so many pitchers are throwing first pitch fastballs, and they get hit hard.
I think that's a real deceiving number, because guys aren't going to swing at first pitches unless it's a good pitch to hit. David Cooper makes a nice play on a hot shot, steps on the bag, and the inning is over. But Chicago has expanded their lead. It's all Dwayne Wise so far tonight. He's driven in all 4 runs. brought to you by the Aspire Travel World MasterCard from Capital One. Tonight we'll take a look inside the numbers at Ricky Romero after 24 starts. A year ago, he was 11-9. He has 9 losses this year, but quite a dramatic difference in his ERA, opponent's batting average, and strikeouts.
And again, I'll say that location's number one, but it's location with all the pitches. And watching Ricky tonight feels like watching Ricky in the last, I don't know how many starts, where I feel like as I hear this established fastball theme, he goes out there and pumps fastball after fastball, and it's getting pounded around the yard. And I feel like at some point, and again, I realize I'm in the minority, but I think Ricky has to get back to pitching with his assortment.
Edwin Encarnacion grounded out to shortstop in his only at bat. Edwin starting in left field tonight. The ball bounced in the dirt. We mentioned Gavin Floyd, how he has problems early in the ball game. Opponents are hitting .286 in the first 3 innings. The boy, after that 3rd inning, it drops down to .234, where he just gets much more comfortable. He's got a rhythm for the game. He's got touch and feel at that point, and he has had the ability to finish up strong. Floyd pitched a great game against the Blue Jays back on the 7th of July. Went 7 1/3, held Toronto to just 4 hits, 4 singles in that game. On the infield, Orlando Hudson calls for it early. The second baseman makes the catch. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Thank you, Jamie. Philip Humber back on the 21st of April through a perfect game against the Mariners this year. Matt Cain of the Giants has the other perfect game. He beat Houston 10-0. But for Felix Hernandez, you had to feel that he was one of those guys that was sooner or later going to throw a no-hitter. That was his 22nd complete game this afternoon.
Well, I think Felix felt like he was going to do it someday, and told the fans in Seattle, an afternoon crowd, it was a pretty good crowd on hand in Seattle, that he did it for them. And he's just one of those guys that has special stuff.
For his career, Hernandez has thrown 4 2-hitters, a 1-hitter, and now a perfect game. Pretty impressive.
It's the 6th no-hitter in the major leagues this year. And not sure why that is.
Cooper fouls it off and stays alive.
Pretty impressive when you come up with 3 perfect games in one season, when you consider that there have been now 23 in the history of the game.
Yeah, that's an inordinate amount during one season.
And like I say, 6 no-hitters on the season. That's a lot of good pitching going on.
1-2, 1 out. There were 6 shutouts Tuesday night in Major League Baseball. Hiroki Kuroda threw a 2-hitter as he shut out the Rangers 3-0. Jeremy Guthrie pitched well, and Kansas City shut out Oakland. You look at the Dodgers. Chad Billingsley went 8 innings. Held the Pirates to just 5 hits as they pummeled Pittsburgh 11-0. Atlanta won 6-0 over San Diego. Cincinnati, a 3-1 walk-off home run by Jay Bruce. They won a shutout 3-0. And then the Phillies. How about this? You have a Jay Bruce walk-off shutout in the 9th. Jimmy Rollins hit a leadoff home run off Josh Johnson. Yeah. That was the only run of the ball game.
Yeah, that's rare, but it doesn't matter when you get the runs, just get them.
David Cooper fouls it off into the glove of A.J. Przinsky. He strikes out. In that ball game out in Seattle this afternoon. Joe Madden was thrown out arguing balls and strikes. You could argue all you want today. It wasn't going to make any difference with Felix Hernandez.
I know you sat with Scott Carson watching a good part of that ball game. Did you see some bad calls?
I didn't see too many bad calls. I saw a lot of bad swings. You made a great point, Alan, about number 23 perfect game happening this afternoon. 26% of all Major League perfect games have been thrown in the last 37 months. Wow. Isn't that something?
Yeah, the big question is, why would that be so?
I think there is a trend back to pitching and defense around baseball. I think, and this is going to sound contradictory in light of what happened today with Melky Cabrera, being suspended for 50 games for PED. But I think baseball in general has moved basically past the steroid era.
I hope that's the case.
And I think, and there's Philip Humber down there. We mentioned his perfect game. That man in the front, Juan Nieves, he's thrown a no-hitter. He threw a no-hitter from Milwaukee against Baltimore. But I think the game in general has really emphasized pitching. And that's why I think there's so many dominant performances now that the pitchers have a little bit more even playing field than they once had. Escobar pokes this one in the right. He stayed with that pitch down and away and comes up with a 2-out single.
I believe 1968 was the last year of the high mound. Is that correct?
Yes.
And they brought it down because pitchers were just dominating too much. You can't dominate a swing like this, though. Escobar on a tough pitch, maybe off the outside edge, just puts the barrel to it. And sometimes it's not the big swing that'll get you that base hit. But baseball did what it could to get some offense back in the ballgame at that time and lowered the mound. But now you're seeing that swing back to pitching once again without any effort to try to get pitching back into the game.
Yeah, and everything that has been legislated from that rule in '68 has really gone against the pitchers, including smaller strike zones, smaller ballparks, and the pitchers have really had a tough time. But I think they're starting to get back the upper hand a bit. Certainly Felix Hernandez had it today. Kelly Johnson. Ball on a strike to the Blue Jays second baseman. There's a happy fan. Had a perfect seat. And got a baseball to take home.
Young man's dressed well.
Ball on the strike. Escobar with a 2-out single. He's at first. White Sox have a 4-0 lead. Ground ball. Hudson to his right will flip to second for the force out. The inning is over. Blue Jays get a 2-out single, but nothing more. We have played 4 here at Rogers Center. It's 4-0 Chicago. Now it's time for Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn in the Blackberry Broadcast Studio. Welcome back to Rogers Center. Ricky Romero is set to pick on Alex Rios. White Sox have a 4-0 lead. Chicago's out hit the Blue Jays 8-3. The first pitch curveball for a strike.
Now we're pitching.
Romero gets ahead. Ball on the strike.
But it does come back to that command as well, and that second pitch curveball trying to come right back at Rios with it. Drive it in the dirt. That's actually the curve or change you'd like to see with 2 strikes, where you can get that little half swing.
1-1 to Rios. Off the end of the bat. Lazy fly ball for Rajai Davis. 1 down.
So after 2 curveballs, he comes back fastball and gets an out. It doesn't always happen, but kind of setting up Alex a bit.
Catcher A.J. Pierzynski. A.J. is 1 for 2. Pierzynski scored the first run of the game in the second inning. Goes after that first pitch and hits a weak grounder. Whoa, tricky hop for Cooper. But he stayed with it, had plenty of time with the catcher running. 2 quick outs for Romero. Watch how this stays down, and Cooper had to stay with it. But Pierzynski didn't present much of a challenge running up the first baseline. 2 outs.
Could see on that play why infield instructors will teach guys to stay down and come up with the baseball if need be. Much more difficult to be up and then have to work downward.
Ramirez just fouled at third.
Philosophy has certainly changed here in this 5th inning. 3 straight hitters with curveballs to start. Now for me, it doesn't matter what the pitch is. If you can throw it for a strike in quality style to start things out, and then you start setting it up through there.
Yunel Escobar at short will throw out his counterpart. Ricky Romero retires the White Sox in order on just 6 pitches. Good 5th inning for Romero. Junior Day Saturday take place Saturday, August 18th. The Blue Jays and the Rangers will hook up. It's a 107 start. Special kids prize tickets in the 200 and 500 level outfield seats. After the game, the kids 14 and under can run the bases just like the pros. Call the Blue Jays for tickets at 341-1234. Or you can log on to BlueJays.com and stop by most Rogers Plus locations. Junior Jays Saturday, always a big hit with the kids. Last Junior Jays Saturday, 45,582 in attendance. And that young lady is all decked out pretty in pink. Omar Vizquel singled his first time up. Squared around, pulled the bat back, and takes a strike. How about that? Vizquel is 2 for 2. One to right, one to left. But that's a significant base hit right there. And you can see that Torey Lovullo comes over and congratulates Vizquel, and Vizquel tipped his cap to the White Sox dugout, because with that hit, he has just tied Harold Baines 42nd on the all-time hits list. Harold Baines and Vizquel were together when Omar played for the White Sox. And Harold Baines acknowledged a couple of great ball players and two great people sharing a milestone number here tonight.
That would be awfully hard to get to that stage of the game, that close to 3,000 hits, that assurance of the Hall of Fame. And I think for me, Vizquel is a guy that must be in the Hall of Fame when it's all said and done. But that's got to be a tough place to say, okay, I've had enough.
There goes Vizquel. The hit and run is on, and Hudson will have to go to first. Mathis put the bat on the ball. Hudson faked as if he were going to go to second. He didn't have a shot at Vizquel, who got a good break. So the hit and run puts the base runner in scoring position at second.
That's why he's been a pinch runner. You want to make sure and get into that bag at second quickly, because that could have easily, why not for Hudson, flip toward the bag at second, take a chance, because with Mathis running down the line, though he runs pretty well for a catcher, pretty easy out on the other end.
Anthony Gose bounces it to short. Ramirez not in time. That extra hop got him. Anthony Gose has great speed, and Ramirez had to wait on that big hop at shortstop, and that cost him.
You know, Gose in the third inning grounded out almost the same way to second base. That's an easy throw from second. If Anthony starts with some of those ground balls, putting them on that left side of the infield, he can come up with just a slew of hits. Sniff it. You sniff that before you're out of the box if you're Anthony Gose.
You and I never had that problem, Alan.
No, you know, he can go first to second in the time I went home to first.
It must have been nice to be able to have that kind of speed and play the game the way Gose is capable of playing. First and second, one out. Rajay Davis was after the first pitch. But you're right, if Anthony Gose, and he will understand this, he's anxious to go to winter ball again this year. He played last year in Venezuela. But, you know, he puts that bat on the ball, puts it on the ground. He can hit 250 with ground balls to the infield on the left side.
And nothing else, yeah. Drop down a few bunts and you're pushing 280, and now turn into a hitter a bit.
Well, we've seen some great hitters with speed over the years, and the first guy that comes to mind is Ralph Garr.
Yes.
Came up with Atlanta, could really run, and all he did was slap the ball left side. And he was a guy that learned how to bunt, and I think that's the next step for Anthony Gose. Kenny Lofton of the Indians certainly learned how to bunt very quickly in his career.
Date myself with my example, but Matty Alou back in the 1960s.
Yeah, Matty Alou was a perfect example.
He, one of the three Alou brothers, and he was trying to drive the ball, hit some home runs. Not a big guy, and Harry Walker got a hold of him, taught him how to put the ball on the ground, and in the process he became a better hitter. It left him seeing the ball for a longer period of time, started hitting a lot of line drives, turned into a batting champ.
1-2, way outside.
It's funny how when you stay on the baseball long enough to hit it the other way, how it leaves you seeing the breaking balls better, and everything starts to become just an easier game.
Well, you give yourself so much more time by going the opposite way. You don't have to be so quick as you do when you try to pull it. Rajay Davis stays alive. You mentioned Matty Lou, and you go back, and in that generation of players, wasn't afraid to choke up on the bat.
Yeah.
Nellie Fox comes to mind, who was such a great second baseman for the Chicago White Sox, but they would choke up 4 or 5 inches on the bat handle.
Well, Barry Bonds did that, for that matter. A power, to say power hitter, duh. Games, most home runs ever. But what I see with Anthony Gose is if he starts being able to do that and then learn to hit a little bit, driving line drives the other way, then he becomes potentially an MVP type of player. And of course, that's a huge projection, but his tools are awfully good.
Well, we mentioned Kenny Lofton. I'll throw in Mickey Rivers is a comparable type of center fielder. Willie Wilson, who was a right-handed hitter but taught himself how to become a switch hitter, just to take advantage of that great speed.
And Mickey Rivers could hit some home runs, but he would be chopping the ball and hitting line drives all over.
On the ground, but foul at third. But I think Anthony Gose wants to be a great player, not just a major league player. I think he wants to be a great player.
I agree.
And I think he'll make all those adjustments we've talked about.
See his eyes up? Now, of course, he looks down as soon as I say that. But when you talk to him, this is a guy who will look you right in the eyes. And he's not worried about what happened yesterday. He is here to get better today.
Rajay Davis putting up a battle against Gavin Floyd. There go the runners. Strike 3 called. Nobody's covering third, and Vizquel's going to come home. Vizquel got hit by that throw from A.J. Pierzynski. Euclid never broke to cover the bag. The throw was right on the bag. It hit Vizquel and then goes into foul territory. Omar's able to score. Gose ends up at third on the play.
Pierzynski's mad, and I don't blame him. Unless there's a sign on that says infielders stay back in their position, and that comes from the bench, then you've got to be able to cover the bag. I don't care, and if that means you have to shorten up a little bit at third base, so be it. But if you're Pierzynski, you try to make the best throw you can, and when it hits the runner like that, for me, it's on the infielder.
Yeah, and especially there at third base, you can't wait to see if he's going to cover third. You have to throw it. Bobby Rasmus now with 2 outs. Chance to cut the lead in half. Anthony Gose at third. Out in front of that breaking pitch. That last play was a double steal, of course. Vizquel and Gose credited with stolen bases, and then Vizquel comes in to score on the error by Pierzynski. For AJ, that's his 4th error of the season. Bounced right back to the pitcher. Well, it underhands it to Dunn. The inning is over, but the Blue Jays get on the board. They take advantage of an error by the catcher, A.J. Pierzynski. Chicago leads it 4-1. Kevin Youkilis comes down, and it looks like they're having some contentious words there. Youkilis is saying, hey, man, I wasn't supposed to cover there. He threw the ball and hit the base runner. They're really fortunate that it did hit Vizquel. If it goes down the left field line, Ghost is going to score on it as well. But Youkilis is playing just his 39th game at third base with the White Sox, and it never appeared as though he had coverage on that steal. They were going to concede the stolen base. Ciedo lines out to Anthony Ghost. That's the first out of the top half of the sixth. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, Jamie, that's right on cue. We're talking about perfect games and shutouts and no-hitters, and Aaron Cook is dealing. Cook is shutting out the Orioles through 5 innings. How about Boston? How'd you like to be in that Camp Happy over there with the Red Sox?
Not if I'm in the uniform of Bobby Valentine, that's for sure.
Wow. News broke yesterday that the players had a meeting with Bobby Valentine and the ownership back in July. And there were some suggestions that players didn't want to play for Valentine. Of course, they all now say, well, you know, we'll play for him and no big deal. But that has not been a good situation all year long. Kevin Youkilis is in Chicago because of that contentious atmosphere. Youkilis wasn't playing well, and Bobby Valentine questioned his dedication, his motivation, and he had a meeting with Valentine to clear the air, but it never really seemed as though it was going to clear itself there in Boston between Youkilis and Valentine.
That's a huge mistake on a manager's part in today's world. In my opinion, I just think you leave it alone. If you've got a veteran like Youkilis, he's not performing well. You've got a youngster like Middlebrooks who is performing well. You play him. You might talk privately with your veteran, but I don't think you air that out in the public. As many questions as the media may ask, I think you stay away from that kind of response, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was on a Sunday night before Patriots Day when they played that 11 o'clock start. And Youkilis had heard about it, and he was the first guy in the clubhouse to have a little chat with his manager. Kevin Youkilis is a very intense guy. He wants to play, loves to play. He's had a fine career.
You could see that in the dugout as he and Pierzynski kind of were getting ready to butt heads. You know what surprises me about that stolen base error on Pierzynski combination is that usually that sign of you're not going to cover a bag comes through the catcher toward the infield. Managers or coach will relay it to the catcher, and then it goes on out to the infielder. So I'm not sure how there could have been the confusion between the two.
Yeah, that's interesting. Mark Parrott there in the middle of your screen is the bench coach, and he generally calls those plays. The situation would dictate at that point maybe you might not cover, just given the score 4-0.
Stay back. We're not going to throw on this particular pitch. But again, my experience is that call comes from coach to catcher to infield.
Yeah.
And so with Pierzynski throwing, I'm not sure how there could be confusion.
Yeah. And Vizquel's the one that really paid the price. He took the shot on the hip and came around to score. 2-2. Hudson fouls it right off the top of his left foot. Boy, that got him good. Herm Schneider, the longtime trainer for the Chicago White Sox, quickly out of the dugout. And you could tell immediately that that hit him square on top of the foot.
That's a pretty good pictorial description of what that feels like. And I don't like to make light of a situation for a guy who's really hurting, but if you've ever done that on a semi-regular basis to your feet or your shins, that is what it feels like.
Like taking a sledgehammer and dropping it on your toe. Hudson's hurting.
I used to do it to my shins, and I did it on just a routine, and just destroyed me.
I never had that problem. I didn't hit the ball hard enough to create any pain, but you can see this hits right on top of that left foot. And it looks like he can come out of the game. Herb Snyder, the head trainer. Here's another look at it, and that hit right off the top of that big toe.
If you ever hurt your toe or foot or leg so much that all you can do is grab your head?
Well, he is walking very gingerly, and we have seen players. Dustin Pedroia comes to mind. He broke his foot a couple of years ago during interleague play, fouling off of ball in much the same fashion. Matt Williams, at the time with the Indians, did the same thing, and he suffered a broken leg. Jermaine Dye, when he was in Oakland, fouled the ball off his shin and had a nasty fracture. So you can see Hudson's in a lot of pain. I'm sure he'll have x-rays. And Gordon Beckham, who did not start in this game, with Hudson starting at second base, will come on to assume a 2-2 count here in the 6th inning. Beckham started in the game last night, went 0 for 3. But he did not get to start tonight because he is 0 for 9 against Ricky Romero. And now he's going to get up there and assume the at-bat. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs. It's the top of the 6th inning. Orlando Hudson had to leave the game after fouling a ball off his left foot. Beckham batting .224 for the season. Three and 2. Strike 3 call. Beckham pot looking at a Romero fastball. Ricky Romero with a pair of strikeouts here in the 6th. He's retired 9. Be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Great evening here at Rogers Center, and people are lined up for some of the good eats here at the concession stand. Blue Jays are down by 3. Gavin Floyd has settled in nicely. Blue Jays scored an unearned run. Back in the bottom of the 5th, it's a 4-1 game. The first pitch strike from Gavin Floyd. Edwin has grounded out and popped up. Waits back on that breaking ball, but pops it out of play. Floyd is making his 9th career appearance, 7th start against the Blue Jays. Just his 2nd start here at Rogers Center. This has been a tough spot for him. He's not pitched well in this ballpark. Coming into this game, he's 0-3 with an 8.25 ERA in Toronto. Albeit just 12 innings, but he has been charged with 11 earned runs in those 12 innings coming into this game. One and two to Encarnacion.
Looked like a bit of a split finger grip right there, and you could see the baseball dive like crazy.
Base hit to left field. Encarnacion starts it off with a leadoff single. That breaking ball just sat up out over the plate and said hit me. Hey fans, enter the Hit a Home Run with Sharp contest on Facebook today. There are 5 ways to win this season, including a grand prize draw for Canada's largest LCD TV, a 90-inch Sharp Aquos. Join Sharp on Facebook today. David Cooper goes down the left field line. This ball is slicing. It's a fair ball. It bounces out of play. It's a ground rule double, and David Cooper, his 2nd hit of the night.
David Cooper is becoming an extra baseman going the other way. 3 home runs going that way this year. Drives this one down in the corner. Stands off the plate. That enables him to kind of go toward that pitch on the outside edge. And he has done a great job driving it. Been one of the big question marks about David Cooper. Can he hit for enough power?
Really interesting that Cooper has certainly made an impression, and a very good one here, especially this last time he's been called up. He now has 9 doubles and 4 homers. So the Blue Jays have a golden opportunity to make it a ball game right here in the 6th. Yunel Escobar, single to right his last time up. Goes after that first pitch. Breaking ball might have been off the plate.
I'm not convinced that David Cooper, when called up this last time, was slated to play nearly as much as what he's played, but he has simply earned it.
Well, he sure has. Every time he gets penciled in the lineup, he comes up with a big hit. Well, Gavin Floyd comes right at Yunel Escobar and jumps ahead 0-2. White Sox will exchange a run for an out. They're playing the infield back here with nobody out. Well, Floyd comes right back and strikes out Escobar on 3 pitches. It's a huge strikeout for Chicago.
Now, we've talked about the stuff of Floyd, and there he gets on top of that little cutter slider. Drops it. Could have even been that little split grip, but a tremendous diving action.
Now, Kelly Johnson will try to pick up Yunel Escobar. And he does. Long drive to right. 3-run homer, Kelly Johnson. We are all tied.
Yeah, Kelly Johnson has not had the largest year in terms of batting average, but that home run power for a second baseman is quite valuable. And he will sting one every now and then. Pitch above the knees, breaking ball. I don't know if Kelly's guessing that pitch, but he certainly saw it well.
Omar Vizquel, 2 for 2 tonight. Boy, Kelly Johnson certainly picked up his teammate Yunel Escobar. That was a huge strikeout for Gavin Floyd.
You think anybody will even remember that Yunel struck out when you get that kind of pickup?
Not now. The ball is hit into center, and Diaz gets over and retires Vizquel. Well, Kelly Johnson, what a big hit. 3-run home run has given Ricky Romero new life.
I think Kelly Johnson gets overlooked quite a bit on this Blue Jays lineup. Does have the power. He's played a solid second base, turns a fine double play.
Jeff Mathis, Blue Jays catcher, is 0 for 2 so far in this ball game. Straight back over our head into the upper deck. Well, Ricky Romero, he has set down 9 straight White Sox, and now his offense has tied things up. It's a 4-4 game. The hits are even at 8 apiece. Mathis strikes out for a second time tonight. The inning is over. But Gavin Floyd gives up 3 hits, a single, a double, and a 3-run home run. Kelly Johnson hit. Sam Cosentino and Dirk Hayhurst on Baseball Central at noon, weekdays on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, and right here on Rogers Sportsnet. Sam Cosentino and Dirk Hayhurst breaking it all down. Weekdays right here on The Fan 590. And Rogers Sportsnet and the simulcast. Alejandro De Aza, the leadoff batter. He's gone 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch back in the first. Kelly Johnson, his 14th home run, a 3-run shot with 1 out off Gavin Floyd. Three and 0. These two matched up back in July. Gavin Floyd won that ball game, a 2-0 game. There's a strike from Romero. Diaz will take the leadoff walk. Man on, nobody out. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Nate McLouth with an RBI, Adam Jones with an RBI, and Matt Wieters caps it off with that RBI ground rule double. Chris Walton comes out of the dugout after the leadoff walk. Blue Jays starting to move around down in the bullpen. Right-hander Brad Lincoln trying to get loose in a hurry. Romero working into the 7th inning. He has thrown just 96 pitches. Done a pretty good job of economizing on his pitches. That leadoff walk snapped a string of 9 straight retired. Kevin Youkilis. Diaz was caught stealing by Romero back in the 1st. The White Sox center fielder broke for a second, and he guessed wrong with Romero, who was coming to first. Inside to Youkilis. Kevin Youkilis tonight against Ricky Romero is 1 for 3. Youkilis hit a 2-run home run in that 2-0 game off Romero back in Chicago in July. Diaz has 21 steals. He's been caught 8 times. Now 9 with the pickoff by Romero back in the 1st.
About that Romero move at all, but oftentimes that base runner, whether through a steal sign or hit and run, whatever it may be, taken off on first move, and that's how Ricky will get him.
That hit him. Youkilis gets hit by the pitch in the first 2 reach here in the 7th. Youkilis hangs in there and always is among the leaders in the American League and hit by pitches, and now John Farrell has popped out of the dugout, and this will be a pitching change. There's the call for Brad Lincoln. Romero will be lifted from this game with nobody out in the 7th after the leadoff walk and the hit batter. So he'll leave the ball game in a 4-4 tie. The 2 runners on base are his responsibility. And it's the right-hander Brad Lincoln coming out of the bullpen to face Adam Dunn, the big left-handed first baseman. Nobody out, 2 on. Brad Lincoln when we come back. and nobody out in the 7th. There are his numbers combined between Pittsburgh and the Blue Jays. 34th appearance of the season. Left-handers have hit just .227 against Lincoln for the year, and that's why John Farrell feels comfortable bringing him in to face Adam Dunn. This pitch is up and away. I know one thing. Dunn's not bunting.
Robin Ventura not even bothering putting signs out.
Dunn has a home run against Brad Lincoln. He's 1 for 3. Breaking ball inside. It's 2-0. Infield defense is interesting now. Escobar moves to the first base side of second. Vizquel is well away from third. Might be a foot race if Diaza decides to break toward third. High and deep to right, and Dunn has just left the yard. A line shot into the third deck in right. A 3-run home run. And Dunn expands his major league lead with his 34th home run of the season.
Not a good guy to fall behind on. And you got that scenario with the game on the line late. And big man can hammer. And he crushed this one. Fastball, 2-0 count, not good.
Trying to go away and missed all the way across the plate inside, and it was a no-doubter to the seats in right. 3-run home run. He now has 81 ribbies for the season. 2 of those runs will be charged to Ricky Romero. Alex Rios fouls it back. It's 0-2. Aaron Loop had pitched an inning and a third in last night's game. Darren Oliver is generally kept until the 8th inning. And John Farrell decided to go with Brad Lincoln to face Adam Dunn, and Dunn won that matchup. Breaking ball hit to third. Vizquel. Cooper and Rios is out. That's the first out of the top of the 7th. A.J. Pierzynski, the catcher's got 1 for 3. Chicago quickly taking the lead right back after the Blue Jays tied it on Kelly Johnson's 3-run home run. Adam Dunn, a 3-run homer here in the top of the 7th. Pierzynski drives this ball deep to right. Davis looking up off the wall. Pierzynski is headed to second. Close will get the ball back in, and A.J. Pierzynski has his second hit of the night, his 13th double of the season.
Certainly having one of his best, if not his best, offensive season overall. Rajai Davis just simply had no play on this drive.
Well, Pierzynski, a career high 23 home runs, and now he's got 13 doubles. He's also thrown in 3 triples for good measure. Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop. Ball gets away from Mathis. Pierzynski already in scoring position, didn't want to gamble. Boy, Adam Dunn took the steam right out of this crowd here at Rogers Center. One swing of the bat, a line drive, 3-run home run into the seats in right.
Might have busted some stitches on that baseball. That ball was just crushed.
The pitch down and away. 2-0 to Alexei Ramirez. Fastball strike on the outside corner. Lincoln's got a good fastball. And he's got a hard breaking ball. But he fell behind Adam Dunn and tried to go away with the fastball. Missed all the way across the plate to the inside half, and Dunn didn't miss it. Gavin Floyd can smile a little bit now after he gave up a 3-run home run to Kelly Johnson. Donnie Veal loosening up. Two-two pitch. Little looper into left. Encarnacion on the run. What a nice play. Edwin Encarnacion has been tested a couple of times tonight. That time he takes a hit away from Ramirez. He's playing deep. They want him to play a little bit deep simply because he hasn't played out there much.
Feels to me that when you get a guy out of position playing in the outfield, he won't get the routine fly balls. He'll get those tough, challenging plays, and that's exactly what Edwin has had.
Made a running catch earlier in the ball game on a fly ball down the left field line off the bat of Dwayne Wise. Initially caught it in fair territory, and then when he tumbled to the turf, the ball popped out of his glove. 2 outs. Ciedo takes one down and away. Ciedo's had a good night at the plate. He singled, walked in, lined out, scored a run in the 4th after he was issued the leadoff walk. Brad Lincoln is falling behind these White Sox hitters. It really created problems for him with the first batter he faced in Adam Dunn. Three and 0. (7-4) White Sox lead. They've scored 3 runs here in the top of the 7th inning. Ricky Romero goes 6 innings plus 2 batters. Gives up 8 hits and 6 runs. Ciedo, big swing and a miss. He had the green light. 3 and 0.
For Ricky, it all unravels with a leadoff walk followed by a hit batter after the game was tied going into the 7th.
Similar scenario in the 4th. A leadoff walk to Ciedo, and then Dwayne Wise a 2-run homer. This ball is hit hard to right. Rajay Davis looking up. Ciedo a 2-run home run. Opposite field, a home run for Ciedo, his 18th of the season. And the White Sox have kicked the door wide open here in the 7th. Ciedo, a 2-run home run. He's driven in 55 runs now.
What does he get? Just the fastball left up out over the plate. And major league hitters tend to like that kind of stuff. That's special power going the other way.
Dwayne Wise has had a big night at the plate. He's driven in 4. Ciedo, his 18th home run. 2nd home run of the inning. White Sox, who have been struggling to score runs. Have a breakout night tonight. 9 runs on 11 hits. A couple of home runs. 3 now. Wise has a 2-run home run. Dunn a 3-run homer. And Viciedo a 2-run shot.
It's 2 home runs allowed by Lincoln, the first 2 that he has allowed since joining the Blue Jays.
One and 2 to Wise. Fouls off the breaking ball. Chicago, as we mentioned, holding on to a 2-game lead in the Central over the Tigers. White Sox go from here to Kansas City. There's a fastball strike on the outside corner. Wise is caught looking. He struck out for a second time tonight, but a rough inning for Brad Lincoln. Ricky Romero walked a batter and hit a batter, and then Adam Dunn facing Brad Lincoln, a 3-run home run. And then Viciedo would add a 2-run shot. Opposite field home run. 9-4 White Sox. Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time when the Texas Rangers face the New York Yankees. The Rangers are at Yankee Stadium Thursday at 1 on East. On Sportsnet East, Ontario, West, and Pacific. It'll be Derek Holland for Texas against Devon Nova for the New York Yankees right here on Sportsnet. Adam Dunn with his major league leading 34th home run. Ryan Viciedo followed that up with a 2-run shot. His 18th of the season, and White Sox have a 9-4 lead. The pitcher in the game is Donnie Veal. Veal was called up from AAA Charlotte before last night's game. This will be his 3rd relief outing for the White Sox this season. Anthony Gose had an infield single his last time up. Breaking ball cut on and missed. Gose strikes out. First out of the inning. So 1 down here in the 7th. Donnie Veal was good at Charlotte. He pitched out of the bullpen. 35 appearances at a 7-3 record with a 2.08 ERA. Rajai Davis has gone 0 for 3 so far. 2-0. Rajay started and then realized it was up and tried to stop his swing, but he went around.
It's tough on a ball club. You're trailing by 5 runs late in the game, 2-0 count, and you offer on a pitch well out of the strike zone.
And then he makes a good pitch on the outside corner. Yeah, you got to think that the Blue Jays are thinking about getting base runners on against Veal. Breaking ball. Davis gets a piece to stay alive.
Of course, it's hard to get tough on Rajay the way he's been swinging the bat of late. A lot going on in this Skip's mind, managing this young lineup.
I think the one thing he's probably a little bit surprised at is the rough inning for Brad Lincoln. The bullpen has been real strength for the ball club of late. Rajay Davis takes a 1-out walk. He's aboard for the first time tonight. Gavin Floyd in line for the win. Those 6 innings with 8 hits, 3 earned runs. Didn't walk a batter and struck out 8. His pitch count was in good shape, just 92 pitches. Ricky Romero, his mound opponent, goes 6 innings plus 2 batters. He's charged with 8 hits, 6 earned runs, walked a couple, and hit 2 batters. Those 2 hit batters factored into the ball game tonight. Kobe Rasmus, in his first start in 5 days, has gone 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Rasmus left the game on Friday night with a recurrence of that groin problem. Suffered that initial injury on the West Coast. Breaking ball, and Rasmus is quickly behind 0-2.
White Sox have Adam Dunn actually playing right in front of Rajay Davis at first base. Down 5 runs. If Rajay can steal a bag and score a run in the inning, I'm not opposed to the running game at all.
I really find it kind of interesting that he would play in front of the runner right here with a 5-run lead late in the game. But that's the American League.
Yeah.
American League can come back and bite you in a hurry.
Of course, by playing in front, it's very different than playing well behind. Well behind, you can just extend your lead and go. In front, you're always wary of that pickoff throw.
Rasmus strikes out, and he is out with first base occupied. So Rasmus strikes out for a 3rd time tonight. Blue Jays have now struck out 10 times.
Always tough on the left-hand hitter when that left-handed pitcher sweeps the breaking ball. Even when it's obviously not in the strike zone, it looks to begin with like it might find the strike zone to the eyes of the left-hand hitter.
Edwin Encarnacion got the Blue Jays rally started in the 6th with a single to left.
I'm guessing Edwin would like to have that one back.
The ball on the strike. He's got a good arm. Their last pitch was 93 miles an hour, and you factor that in with a pretty good breaking ball. Blue Jays haven't seen a lot of Veal. Actually faced him one other time, but he recorded out. Broken back fly ball to left. Wise is there. The inning is over. Blue Jays get a walk, but leave a man. We have played 7 innings. White Sox have a 9-4 lead. Now it's time for the Smart Play, brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Please enjoy responsibly.
Ricky Romero started the night hitting the leadoff man for the White Sox, Alejandro De Aza. He was at first base here and had running game on his mind. Ricky had pickoff on his mind, and the Blue Jays get that quick pickoff. So that leadoff hit batter had no impact early on Ricky, and though the White Sox were swinging the bats well, they were unable to get on the board in the first inning.
Young Blue Jay fan here, anxious to see his club battle back yet again. Blue Jays tied it up in the bottom of the sixth with a 3-run home run off the bat of Kelly Johnson. But they saw that evaporate in a hurry. Chicago scored 5 runs in the top half of the seventh. Gordon Beckham came into the ball game with a 2-2 count. Orlando Hudson was batting when he fouled the ball off his left foot. He had to leave the game. And you can see that strikeout is put on Beckham's resume. This has popped up over near the seats and will get back in the seats out of play. Beckham did not start in this ball game as Ricky Romero was on the mound for the Blue Jays, and Beckham had gone 0 for 9 previously against Romero. So it was a chance to get Orlando Hudson into the ball game, and Hudson ended up the night 1 for 2. Brad Lincoln came on with 2 on and nobody out, and the first batter he faced was Adam Dunn, who had a 3-run home run. Breaking ball. Cooper off the bag will throw to Lincoln, covering, and Beckham is retired, 1 down.
Want to help out a great cause while enjoying some great food? Stop by A&W on August 23rd, when $1 from every teen burger sold goes to help end MS.
Downtown Toronto, just a few blocks away from the Rogers Center. 1 out. Alejandro De Aza. He factored into that big 5-run 7th inning. That leadoff walk against Ricky Romero, and then Kevin Youkilis was hit by a pitch, and that set the table for Adam Dunn. Lincoln's ahead 0-2.
95 on the heat right there from Lincoln, and so you get a glimpse at the arm that is so impressive.
There's that good hard breaking ball, and De Aza strikes out, 2 down.
That hammer right there will polish off some bats. He's gotten some quick strikeouts for the Blue Jays with this pitch right over the top, and a big bender.
It's a hard breaking ball. It's a combination of slider and curveball, but it's hard and tough to pick up. Kevin Youkilis. Uke has gone 1 for 3 tonight. With a breaking ball for a strike. Right back in there. 0-2. The Tigers won this afternoon. They beat Minnesota 5-1, so they have closed ground on the White Sox. They're now a game and a half behind Chicago. This strikes out the high fastball. Got a piece of it, but Mathis holds on. That ends the inning. Brad Lincoln retires the Sox in order. double, and he's been swinging a hot bat lately.
That's what he does so well. He gets that pitch out over the plate, drives it to left field. And again, question marks about his pop. But he's showing a lot more pop with the ball club now since joining this last time and hitting lefties well.
He takes a first pitch strike from Veal, down and away.
His slugging percentage up in the 460s right now, well above the American League average.
Good breaking ball. Veal quickly ahead 0-2. Cooper's gone 8 for 28 against lefty pitching. Got a double against Matt Thornton in last night's game. It's a piece of this one, and it kicks off the glove of Veal, and Cooper will reach. Donnie Veal got a little bit ahead of himself and had more time than he thought. In his rush to get to that ball, he kicks it, and Cooper's on to start the 8th.
There's a case of not sizing up the play or the runner well at all. David Cooper just doesn't get down the line well. But I don't know if the turf might have gotten Veal there. Maybe a little livelier hop than he anticipated.
Yunel Escobar, he singled to right field in the 4th. It's this ball high to right field. Rios moves over to his right, makes the catch. Escobar's retired on 1 pitch. That'll bring Kelly Johnson to the plate. Last time up, Johnson hit a 3-run home run off Gavin Floyd.
That's getting it pretty good in a big situation to tie the ball game.
Home run number 14 for Kelly Johnson, and that tied the game at 4-all. Ever so briefly. The Red Sox came right back and scored 5 in their half of the 7th. Good fastball from Veal. The White Sox are really kind of concerned about their left-handed relief pitching. Jason Septimo, a rookie, has had trouble with his control. Veal hasn't pitched much, and Matt Thornton has 8 losses this year. So a lot of losses from a relief pitcher. Generally, a guy like Matt Thornton is into the ball game in a tight situation. They have a chance to win, and to have a 4-8 record is a little bit alarming out of that bullpen.
Can a youngster like Veal step in and have some success and maybe answer the question marks that the White Sox have been feeling?
Yeah, he's going to get an opportunity for sure. You saw Darren Oliver momentarily down in the Blue Jays bullpen, and it's exactly the kind of guy the White Sox are looking for. Little tapper off the plate.
Because if you can get the youngster like Veal to have some success, though he doesn't have all that crafty veteran learning behind him, he's got years in front of him, and so you'd love to be able to get the youngster pitching well and help you down the stretch, help you in the postseason and for years to come. But Darren Oliver has gotten it done, and boy, has he done it again this year with the Blue Jays.
He's had a remarkable season. 2-2. Johnson strikes out that breaking ball down and away, gets him. 3rd strikeout for Veal since entering the ball game. Omar Vizquel will bat right-handed for the first time. He's had a good night. 2 hits tonight.
Pretty good little short stroke right there. When he's at the left side of the plate, he can do this, both sides of the field. Just kind of drops the barrel of the bat right to the baseball.
Goes after the first pitch and drives it into center field. De Aza over in the alley makes the catch. Vizquel is retired. The Blue Jays go quietly in the 8th. Will go to the 9th. Chicago has a 5-run lead. Little League Canada. Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, August 20th through the 22nd at Cairns Field will be the site. The instructors will include Jesse Barfield, Lloyd Mosby, Homer Bush, and Dwayne Ward. Visit BlueJays.com/Baseball Academy for more information. The Blue Jays are proud supporters of amateur baseball across Canada. The super camps have been big hits all across Canada all summer long. And they're winding down. Dwayne Ward and a host of Blue Jay alumni will be in Saskatoon. Chad Jenkins comes out of the bullpen to pitch the 9th inning. Done a nice job since joining the ball club. This will be his 4th appearance. Adam Dunn goes after the first pitch. This is a long run for Yunel Escobar, the shortstop. And he gets there and makes the catch. Blue Jays play that exaggerated shift on him, and he had a long run to make the catch. Now it's time for a preview of what's coming up on Connected. Here's Ryan Leslie and Ivanka Osmek. One out. Alex Rios steps in against Chad Jenkins. Have you liked what you've seen from Chad Jenkins so far?
Yeah, he has. He's thrown the ball well. I think it's a little early to make impressions at this point, but for first impressions, he's been good.
Cooper will go to the bag. Rios is retired. 2 quick outs for Jenkins here in the 9th.
Guess I'm a little cautious because the numbers at the minor league level weren't all that strong, all that dominant this season. But, you know, sometimes a guy will hit the big league scene and kind of hang out with the other pitchers, learn something, and it kind of clicks for him. And you never know if that might be the case.
I think you're being kind. You look at his numbers in AA and you'd scratch your head as to why he's up here. But he started to string together some good games right at the end of his run in AA. And he's pitched well since he's been here. The one thing John Farrell likes about him is he's thrown strikes. A.J. Pierzynski's got 2 for 4. He scored a couple of runs tonight. Sinking fastball moved off the plate. Ball on the strike. Jenkins is a former #1 pick. Pierzynski pulls it foul.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy that now is just over 5 innings of work in the big leagues and has allowed just a couple of hits. He's yet to give up his first major league run, but in 5+ innings over, and you spread that out now over 4 games, pretty tough to tell. And I think you need to give some time here. Let it breathe.
Little tapper out in front of home plate. Jenkins gets to it, takes his time, and has a good inning. Chad Jenkins has a 1-2-3 9th inning. Takes him just 7 pitches. The Blue Jays will bat in the bottom of the 9th. They trail by 5. Live coverage of the Blue Jays. Watch the action live all season from your smartphone. Download the Rogers Live app from your app store. On this day of a perfect game out in Seattle, I guess it's appropriate that Philip Humber, the White Sox reliever, will close things out. He authored a perfect game back in April in Seattle against the Mariners. He is now working out of the bullpen.
And the numbers have not been all that impressive for a guy that did have a perfect game on the early part of the season. ERA almost at the 6 mark. Left-hand hitters having a feast. Right-hand hitters have had their tough times.
Philip Humber has been moved to the bullpen. They picked up Francisco Liriano. Trade with Minnesota, and we will see Liriano. Jeff Mathis, the catcher. It's a first pitch strike. Francisco Liriano and Aaron Laffey will hook up in the series finale tomorrow night. 0-2. Aaron Laffey 3-3 for the season. Trying to close out the White Sox on a positive note with the final game between these two ball clubs. The breaking ball is upstairs. Francisco Liriano is 3-10 for the season. Of course, he started out his year with the Twins. But the White Sox feel like they may have picked up a valuable starter. They've identified some things in his delivery that make them think he can turn things around.
I'm guessing Philip Humber, after 2 starts this year, felt like he had found it and he was ready to have a big year. Allowed 1 run in his first start, that against the Orioles, 5 1/3 innings, and then came the perfect game. So 2 games in, allowing 1 run like that, this young man must have felt like the moment had come. But from that time on, next start, 9 earnings in 5 innings, and it's been kind of that way the rest of the time.
Mathis drills this ball to center and deep, looking up and gone. Jeff Mathis delivers a leadoff home run, his 7th home run of the season. Comes off Philip Humber, looked like a high breaking ball. Mathis hung in there with 2 strikes and knocks it out of the ballpark.
Get a glimpse of how strong Jeff Mathis is with this home run, too. Leave that breaking ball up out over the plate. Didn't even look like Jeff was all the way into this one, and yet still able to drive it out to left center.
And 5 home runs hit in this ball game tonight. 3 by the White Sox, 2 by the Blue Jays. Sure, that's a bit of an empty feeling for Mathis, given the fact his club still trails by 4. Anthony Gose needs to get on. Anthony has an infield hit in 3 at-bats. Breaking ball inside. Two balls and 2 strikes. The White Sox had taken advantage of big innings. They scored 3 runs in last night's game in the 5th. And only 3 runs they scored, but that was good enough for a 3-2 win. And tonight, 5 runs in the 7th inning. Broke open a 4-4 game. Strike 3 right down in the middle. Gose is caught looking. He strikes out for a 2nd time tonight. One down. Rajai Davis, the leadoff batter. Rajai has struck out twice tonight. Gavin Floyd, the starter, struck out 8 Blue Jays. Donnie Veal, the left-hander, racked up 3 more. And now Philip Humber has a strikeout. Blue Jays have struck out 12 times tonight. Ball and a strike to Davis. The White Sox hold on and win this game. They'll take a 5-4 advantage over the Blue Jays for the season series. Little tapper out in front of home. Lumber takes his time. Almost threw a changeup that Dunn missed, but he was able to retire Rajai Davis.
People have said for years you can't outrun the baseball, but when you throw that change to first base, Rajai is one guy that can almost outrun it. You might want to reconsider that toss. And Rajai looked like he was actually pulling up.
So Davis ends up the night 0 for 4. Blue Jays are down to their final out. Colby Rasmus has had a rough night, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Chicago will keep pace over the Tigers. They'll maintain their 2-game lead in the AL Central. Lumber is pitching with a lot of confidence in a 4-run game. Gave up a leadoff home run to Jeff Mathis. Outside. Tigers will have an off day tomorrow before they open up against the Orioles at home at Comerica. Then after that 3-game series against the Orioles, they'll have Monday off before the Blue Jays move into town to play a 3-game series. The Blue Jays for 3 and then the Angels for 3 at Comerica. The Tigers have a nice stretch of off days. They'll be off on the 20th and off again on the 27th before they go out and play Kansas City in a 3-game series. 1-2 to Colby Rasmus. Swings and misses. Rasmus strikes out, throw to first base, and that's the ball game. Chicago White Sox have taken 2 of the first 3 games, and here they busted it wide open.
Well, you'd love to say that Ricky Romero took some further strides forward tonight. I'm not sure that that's the case. And after the game was back tied in the 7th inning, to have Brad Lincoln come on, and an intriguing scenario there for John Farrell, but nonetheless allowing that home run to Adam Dunn. That was the big blow of the night.
The Blue Jays will try to even the series at 2 games apiece tomorrow. We'll be right here. Stay tuned. Connected coming right up. Ryan Leslie and Ivanka Osmak.